Ladies and gentlemen, he thought you'd break, didn't he? Thought you'd lose your mind, come running back, begging for answers that won't ever come. But here you are, breathing, standing, and questioning whether the pain you felt was punishment or protection. Let me tell you something. What you do next, that's what will define your story. When a man hurts you, your first instinct might be to scream, to cry, to ask why. But I'm telling you right now, don't react. That's exactly what he expects. Because your reaction is fuel. It feeds his ego, his control, his illusion of power. But your silence, your focus, your self-control, that terrifies him. You watching this right now is no accident. You're here because deep down you know something's got to change. Not in him, but in you. Stay with me until the end of this message, because what I'm about to tell you, it's not just about healing, it's about leveling up so high that the same people who tried to break you can't even find your new address. This speech isn't about revenge, it's about redirection, rebuilding. So don't blink, don't scroll, because the part that changes your life, it starts right now. When someone hurts you, especially someone you trusted, loved, maybe even gave pieces of your soul to, it feels like something inside you shatters. The natural instinct is to react. You want to scream, cry, send that long text, or confront them face to face. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Control over emotion is power. Not for them, for you. Because the moment you react emotionally to pain, you hand over your strength to the person who caused it. You think you're defending yourself by reacting, but really, you're giving them a front row seat to your vulnerability. And some people, they feed off that. They watch your reaction to measure their importance, to confirm they still have control over your emotions, your peace, your mental state. But the moment you decide, I won't react the way they expect me to, that's when you begin to take your power back. Understand something very clearly. Silence isn't weakness. Composure isn't suppression. It's strategy. When you don't react, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is powerful. When someone hurts you and expects you to lose it, to crumble, and you do the opposite, you confuse them. You shift the dynamic. Suddenly they're wondering, did she even care? Why is she so calm? Why isn't she chasing me for answers? That quiet strength, it disrupts the game, because the truth is a lot of men hurt women not because they're heartless, but because they believe she'll always be there, that she'll cry, react, but eventually forgive, that she'll break down, but never break away. So when you choose not to react, you shatter that illusion. You're not doing it for him, you're doing it for you. Control over your emotions means you don't let the pain dictate your next move. You feel it, yes, you acknowledge it, but you don't act on impulse, because impulsive reactions create messes that calm minds have to clean up. A moment of rage can lead to a text you'll regret, a call that reopens wounds, a conversation that brings more confusion than clarity. And don't confuse reaction with expression. You can process your emotions in healthy ways. You can journal, pray, talk to someone you trust. But when it comes to him, the one who hurt you, you owe him nothing. Not your words, not your tears, not your explanations. You don't need to prove your pain to someone who already caused it. The real strength is in the pause, that space between what happened and how you choose to handle it. In that pause is your power. That's where transformation begins. That's where you decide, I'm not going to act like the wounded version of me. I'm going to respond like the woman I'm becoming. Let's get real. People hurt you, and then they watch. They wait. Some even test your boundaries just to see if you still have any. They hurt you and look over their shoulder to see if you're still standing behind them. And when you're not, when you've gone quiet, when you've chosen dignity over drama, they feel it. There's a certain kind of heartbreak that teaches you discipline. It's the kind that forces you to sit with your feelings, not react to them, to reflect instead of retaliate. And if you can do that, if you can sit in the fire without burning the world down, you come out changed. You come out stronger, not colder, not bitter, but better, smarter. You know what's rare? A woman who refuses to let pain turn her into a puppet. A woman who learns how to breathe through betrayal and turn it into boundaries. A woman who, when hurt, doesn't perform, doesn't act out, lash out, or run back, but simply watches, learns, and moves differently. That kind of woman, she's dangerous. Not because she wants to hurt anyone, but because she's no longer emotionally available to be manipulated. People who genuinely care about you don't intentionally hurt you. And if they do, they apologize without you having to beg for it. So, when someone shows you their carelessness, believe it. Don't argue with their actions. Don't beg for closure. Don't fight to fix something they broke. That's reaction. That's noise. What you need is direction. Your healing doesn't need his understanding. Your progress doesn't require his validation. When he hurts you, and you stay calm, when you hold your dignity like a shield, you give yourself a gift. Freedom. Freedom from the emotional roller coaster. Freedom from playing games. Freedom from needing someone else to acknowledge your pain just so you can start healing. You don't need permission to move forward. You don't need revenge to feel better. You don't need chaos to prove that you're hurting. You need clarity. And that clarity comes in the stillness, in the decision to feel your pain, but not feed it. So next time a man hurts you and your soul starts screaming to react, take a breath, take a pause, ask yourself who benefits from this reaction, because most of the time, it's not you. The woman who learns to control her emotions becomes a master of her destiny. The one who reacts becomes a slave to someone else's actions. You weren't made to be anyone's puppet. You weren't made to beg for respect you already deserve. So stand tall, walk silent, let the storm rage outside of you while your peace remains untouched inside. That's power. That's control. That's you rising. And when the dust settles, he'll wonder why he doesn't have access to you anymore, why the same games don't work, why your silence is louder than your words ever were. That's when he'll realize he didn't just lose a woman who cared. He lost a woman who evolved. When someone hurts you, especially someone you allowed into your inner world, it can feel like your entire sense of self has been shaken. The pain isn't just emotional, it hits your confidence, your identity, and sometimes your peace. But here's what most people don't understand. That pain is not meant to bind you. It's meant to reveal something to you. Pain is a mirror, not a chain. It doesn't define your worth, it reflects theirs. When a man hurts you, your first question is often, what did I do wrong? You start digging through old texts, past conversations, every interaction, looking for the moment you messed up. You wonder if you were too much, too emotional, too available, too kind. But that right there, that's the chain. That's how pain tries to trap you. By making you believe that someone else's inability to love you properly is a result of something you lack. But the truth is, the way a person treats you is a reflection of who they are, not a measurement of your value. You can give someone love, loyalty, and softness and still get betrayal, silence, or lies in return. That doesn't mean your love was broken. It means they couldn't receive it. Maybe they weren't ready. Maybe they never knew how to treat someone who came with pure intentions. But their actions? That's their reflection, not your burden. So when someone wounds you, don't stare at the wound too long, look at what it reveals. Because pain has a way of stripping away the mask. It shows you who really had your back and who only stood behind you when it was easy. It shows you who called you too emotional just because they couldn't handle being emotionally responsible. It shows you who only loved the version of you that served them. You've got to shift the question from, why did this happen to me, to what is this trying to show me? And that's hard. That's real hard, especially when the hurt comes from someone you thought was different. But every heartbreak, every disappointment, every letdown, it brings light to the shadows. It highlights your patterns, your tolerance levels, the parts of you that need boundaries, the parts of you that still seek validation from the wrong people. We often try to avoid pain at all costs, but pain is one of life's most honest teachers. It doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't sugarcoat the truth. It puts you in front of the mirror and says, look, not just at them, but at you, at the parts of you that settled, the times you ignored the red flags, the moments you silence your intuition to keep the peace. That's not to blame yourself, but to grow. Because if you don't learn the lesson, you repeat the pattern. And if you only react to pain without reflecting on it, you stay stuck in the cycle. You'll keep attracting the same type of man with a different face, wondering why the story always ends the same. It's not about becoming cold or guarded. It's about becoming aware. When you start using pain as a mirror, you stop being a victim and start becoming a student. And students become masters. Understand this. The way someone treats you after you've opened up to them says everything about their heart and nothing about yours. There are people who will take your softness and use it against you. That's not your shame to carry. That's their lack of maturity, their lack of integrity. And when you start seeing that clearly, the pain still hurts, but it no longer controls you. It becomes a tool, not a chain. Some people hurt others simply because they haven't healed themselves. That's not your job to fix. You were not brought into this world to be someone's emotional punching bag. You are not here to teach a grown man how to be loyal, kind, and honest. That's work he has to do for himself. But your job, your responsibility is to recognize when your love is being mishandled and to choose yourself anyway. It takes strength to walk away from what you once prayed for. It takes courage to look pain in the eye and say, thank you for the lesson. That doesn't mean you wanted it. That doesn't mean it didn't break you for a while. It means you're choosing to learn from it instead of letting it harden you. That's what separates healed women from wounded ones. The ability to face the pain without becoming it. You don't need to change who you are just because someone didn't see your worth. You don't have to dim your light just because they couldn't handle your shine. You don't have to close your heart just because one person didn't know how to hold it. You need to remember, pain isn't meant to chain you to your past. It's meant to show you who you are and what you deserve. You don't rise by avoiding pain. You rise by walking through it and refusing to let it define you. You rise by letting it teach you, strengthen you, and sharpen you. And when you come out on the other side, you'll see things more clearly. You'll look back at the one who hurt you, not with hatred, not with revenge, but with understanding. You'll realize they were the mirror, not the chain. They showed you where you still needed healing, where you were still giving too much, and where you finally needed to draw the line. So don't be afraid of the pain. Use it, study it, learn from it, because when you do, you stop asking, why did he hurt me? and you start declaring, "He taught me how strong I really am." And that's the beginning of your freedom. There is a moment right after someone has hurt you when you feel the fire rising in your chest. Your heart beats faster, your mind races, your soul screams for justice. You want to react. You want to show them that they don't get to treat you like that. You want to speak your truth, throw their words back in their face, and make them feel what you felt. That's the instinct. That's the heat of the moment. But that reaction, that's exactly what gives them power. Because the more you react, the more they know they still control a piece of you. Here's what they don't expect: silence. That's what they fear. Not your anger, not your tears, but your stillness, your lack of reaction, that quiet strength that says, "I saw what you did, and I choose not to respond because I've already decided you're not worth my energy." That's power. That's control. That's emotional intelligence. Because emotional control isn't weakness, it's discipline. And discipline is where real power lives. See, when you react in the heat of pain, you hand over your emotional keys, you let someone else dictate your peace. But when you pause, when you breathe, process, and step back, you take that power back. You reclaim your strength. Because responding is a choice. It's not about ignoring the pain, it's about managing it in a way that protects your dignity. Every time you withhold a reaction that could cost you your peace, you're building a stronger version of yourself. They might say something disrespectful, do something selfish, walk away like you never mattered, and every bone in your body will want to match that energy. But you're not here to match energy. You're here to elevate it. You're not in a competition of who can hurt who more. You're building peace, not chaos. You don't need to post cryptic messages online, send angry texts, or beg for closure. Your silence says everything they need to hear. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. And not everybody deserves access to your voice. The minute you stop reacting, you stop playing their game. Because some people hurt you just to get a reaction. They want to feel powerful. They want to prove they can break you. Don't give them that satisfaction. Let them wonder why you're quiet. Let them sit in the discomfort of your absence. That's how you shift the energy. When you react emotionally to disrespect, you're feeding the very fire they set. But when you detach, when you keep your peace, you confuse them. They don't know how to handle someone who chooses dignity over drama. They don't know how to fight someone who won't throw punches back. That silence, that control, that's the blow that lands the hardest. You need to remind yourself, not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult deserves an answer. Some things are beneath you. Some people don't need a lesson. They need distance. Your response can become your regret if you let emotion lead. So you have to train yourself to pause before reacting. Pause before texting back. Pause before replying in anger. That pause, that's your power. And I get it, it's not easy. The silence feels unnatural at first. It feels like surrender. But over time, it becomes strength. Because while they expect fire, you give them ice. While they expect a storm, you give them calm. And nothing is more powerful than a woman who can sit in her stillness and not let chaos disrupt her peace. The reason you don't react isn't because you don't care. It's because you do care. About your energy, your growth, your self-respect. You're not trying to win them back. You're not trying to make a point. You're trying to heal. And healing doesn't happen in arguments. Healing happens in silence, in the space where you reflect instead of retaliate. Most of the time, your reaction won't change them. Your words won't make them see the damage they caused. Some people aren't looking for understanding. They're looking for control. When you don't give them that, you win. You walk away with your crown still on your head. No screaming, no chasing, no begging, just peace, just power. Let them see what life looks like when you stop reacting. Let them sit in the distance your silence creates. Let them miss your energy, your effort, your presence. And while they're trying to figure out why you didn't fight back, you'll be building yourself stronger, wiser, and more grounded. That's the real victory. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, disrespect you, or pull you into emotional war, pause. Don't fire back. Don't explain yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Let your silence echo louder than any response ever could. Let your calm be the storm they never saw coming. Because real power isn't loud. Real power doesn't scream. Real power is quiet, composed, and unshakable. And when you learn to hold that power, you stop living to prove your worth to others, and you start living like someone who already knows it. You cannot control how someone treats you, but you can control how you respond. That's a truth many people never fully embrace. When a man hurts you, when he disrespects you, walks away from your love, speaks to you like your feelings don't matter, you will feel the need to react. That's natural. But what you do in that moment defines who you are and the life you're about to live. You can either stay in that pain, or you can use that pain as fuel for your transformation. The hurt he caused you, that wasn't the end of you. That was the beginning of something. That was life showing you what you needed to leave, what you needed to outgrow, and what you needed to learn. Pain has purpose when you decide to use it right. You see, the wound he left in you is not a weakness. It's a wake-up call. It's not just about him walking out, cheating line, or treating you as less than. It's about you realizing that his actions do not define your worth. What defines your worth is what you do after the damage is done. This is the moment where you shift from pain to power. You don't stay stuck in the hurt. You don't beg for closure. You don't try to make sense of why he did what he did. Some people act out of their own brokenness. And trying to understand broken behavior will only break you further. Instead, you focus on yourself. You turn the spotlight inward. Because healing begins when you stop asking why he did it and start asking, what now? This is where growth lives. In that quiet decision to stop chasing people and start chasing peace. When someone shows you they can hurt you and sleep peacefully at night, your job is not to fix them. It's to heal yourself. Your growth begins the moment you stop making excuses for how someone made you feel and start setting boundaries for how you will be treated going forward. You can't go back and undo the pain, but you can move forward and build a new version of yourself that no longer tolerates that kind of hurt. Let this moment of pain be your teacher. It's teaching you resilience. It's teaching you clarity. It's teaching you to walk alone if necessary, rather than walk with someone who's tearing you down. You don't grow by staying in environments that stifle your spirit. You grow when you leave what no longer serves your purpose, even if it hurts. Especially when it hurts. You have to understand that every time someone breaks you, they're giving you an opportunity to rebuild better, stronger, wiser, more self-aware. That heartbreak, it taught you about your limits. It showed you what red flags you ignored. It reminded you that your loyalty should never be louder than your self-respect. That moment of being hurt, it's now your turning point. Because this isn't just about one man hurting you. It's about who you become because of it. Will you stay bitter? Will you let it make you question your worth? Or will you rise? Will you let the fire burn away everything that no longer belongs in your life and emerge with a clearer vision of who you are and what you deserve? Growth hurts, change hurts. Letting go of someone you once loved deeply, It hurts. But staying broken hurts more. Staying in confusion hurts more. Replaying the pain in your head every night hurts more.